We asked what we could do for our country. We went out. We did it. With all due respect, it's time to start asking what your country can do for you.
If I had told you that ad ran in a Massachusetts Democratic primary, a candidate taking the words of John F. Kennedy and completely inverting them to try to defeat a Kennedy, for generations now, that would have been an absolutely politically suicidal move. And yet tonight, look at this. Ed Markey, who ran that ad, who took JFK's words, who said, no, it's the opposite. He has defeated a Kennedy in Massachusetts. This is official. The AP has called this. Joe Kennedy has called Ed Markey to concede. Ed Markey, incumbent senator who was challenged by Joe Kennedy. Ed Markey has held off that challenge. He's won. He's won comfortably tonight. What happened here in Massachusetts? Remember, at the start of this campaign, about a year ago here, Joe Kennedy said he was running. He was going to try to defeat Ed Markey. Kennedy went into this the big favorite. A Kennedy in Massachusetts basically, before now, entered every race as a favorite. Well, Ed Markey did a couple of things that resulted in this tonight. And as we look at the results across Massachusetts, we see it. Number one, Ed Markey aligned himself very, very strongly, very, very forcefully with the Green New Deal, with climate change efforts. He got an endorsement from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And the result from that and from moves like that, Ed Markey, one thing you see when you look at the map in Massachusetts tonight, he is cleaning up in college towns. He is cleaning up in places where there are young voters. If you think back to the presidential primaries and you think of the types of voters and the types of places where Bernie Sanders did best, that's exactly what Ed Markey is doing there in Massachusetts tonight. He's performing very well in those places, but he also did something else, something that, if you think back to the presidential primaries, maybe Bernie Sanders wasn't able to do, something that held Sanders back in the primaries, but that Markey in Massachusetts was able to do. And if you look, it's one bedroom community after another, one suburb after another, where you've got that sort of professional class, white collar suburbanite. Those places overwhelmingly going for Ed Markey tonight over Joe Kennedy. The types of voters, the types of places I'm describing in the presidential primary, they're the types of places where Elizabeth Warren did the best. And so what you're seeing here in this Ed Markey coalition is he put together Sanders and Warren in Massachusetts. He kind of fused those two coalitions together, and it resulted in this primary in a strong majority. Joe Kennedy was left with, he had strength, Fall River, he had strength in Springfield, he had strength in some of the older cities of Massachusetts, but not enough, nearly enough to win this thing. In fact, I was just looking, the results have come in from the city of Boston. Ed Markey won Boston. He won it overwhelmingly tonight. So a Kennedy loses in Massachusetts. The backdrop for this, of course, we were showing you this all day today. You know, since JFK launched his political career, the PT-109 boat hero after World War II, JFK was undefeated in Massachusetts Democratic primaries. So was Ted. So was Joe Kennedy II. Coming into tonight, so was Joe Kennedy III. I mean, this is a dynasty. 26 wins spanning generations of Massachusetts Democratic politics. Not a single loss in one of those Massachusetts Democratic primaries until tonight. It's Joe Kennedy III. You can update it. You can see it. That's the first loss. It's the first ever loss in a Democratic primary for a Kennedy in Massachusetts. Didn't matter in terms of control of the Senate. The Democrats going to be heavily favored in this race in the fall, no matter who won tonight. But from a historic standpoint, it's a big deal. Kennedy just lost in Massachusetts. Some people thought they'd never see that.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.